Good Monday evening, everyone, and welcome to Monday Night Safety Stop. JoJo, it is good to see you. It looked like you had the top part of your head cut off.
Yeah, scooch down a little bit.
Yeah, I was beginning to wonder. I'm like, well, you're sitting awfully tall there, Joe.
Well, I'm trying to keep my legs stretched out. So,
Yeah. It sounds like you had an eventful Florida excursion.
I had one heck of a weekend. I'll put it that way.
Uh,
Good
so
and bad.
so what is our trivia question going to be tonight? Oh.
Hmm. Gee willikers. Not sure.
uh. So I know last week we had the trivia question was how long did your fin straps last?
Yeah.
And uh, the next question it would be easy it'd be a giveaway, but did they fit?
It'd be a yes or no question, right?
A yes or no question. Did Joe's new fin straps fit? uh, Looks like Mr. Mike is in with us. Good evening. Uh, yeah, that's I don't know. We got to think of a good question to give folks a good time to uh, figure it out. Get some good guesses.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I hear my dog. He's in trouble. He's whining.
Oh,
Yeah, he thinks the cat is a chew toy. So,
they normally are. They make good ones. That's when they fight back.
oh goodness, but
We normally guess who the winner is going to be.
not the dog. Yeah, not the dog. But so anyway, I know you guys just got back from Florida, and man, I tell you, it sounds like you had a heck of a time.
uh, I had a heck of a time is an understatement. Brian and Mike probably had a absolute great time besides listening to me whine and crying all weekend.
But you had good reason, right?
I did. I did. Starting the night before, a weekend to it, a massive migraine hit me for 3 days straight. Put me off my game quite a bit. So, hurt my knee in the shower, so I'm already going down gimpy. And then getting all the way down to Macon and realizing I don't have my wallet.
Oh.
So, sitting in a gas station trying to figure out how I'm going to get gas or anything else for the matter.
uh, Being
Uh,
7 hours from home, realizing you don't have your wallet, and now you're out of gas and you can't get food.
yeah, exactly. Can't go nowhere. You're stuck. What you did?
Sounds like
Luckily, I
sounds like it started to be a one-way ticket to cave country.
I had like a one way ticket to right where I was at.
Mike says Joe had a rough week.
uh, and luckily, my wife was home, able to wire me some money. Got that situated, taken care of. I was able to get down there. Of course, it didn't just stop there. We got down there. There was BC issues. There was dry suit issues. Uh, Buoyancy all over the place. What I went down there to do, I just couldn't do it.
Well, and that comes, like we had talked before, is new equipment, that you haven't been in, haven't don't have the experience in, even though you're side mount certified, you're dry suit certified, but putting those two together,
Yep.
it's new equipment, and
And I expected issues with the new equipment. That's why I took my wetsuit, which ended up being option 2, which worked out great for the next few days.
So other than the personal mishaps and the just the whole downhill rain it pours situation, how was the dive sites?
The dice sites were great. Brian, of course, surprised us, a few days before. Surprise, we're doing a cavern class. So this now went to fun diving boot camp.
You thought it was just going to be go down there, get to play, enjoy. Crap, I've got class now.
But it was nice. So he picked out Jenny Springs the first day. We went, played right there at Jenny Springs in the ballroom, which is a nice big cavern. A lot of cool spots, especially if you're side mount. You're doing side mount to just squeeze through and just have a good time swimming between the boulders and stuff. Um, and then of course you can feel the flow out of the spring just going down, holding on to the grate, and you're just like a flag, barely able to hold on to the rebar down there. So
So
a lot of good times there.
like when we were down there at Manatee a couple of years ago. How the flow was coming out of Manatee. So was that kind of similar?
Yes, very
Okay.
yes, exactly. Yes. If you've been to Manatee, never tried it, and you're clinging on the rocks, just trying to get to the front of it. Yeah, I think Manatee's a little bit stronger, but yeah, it was hold on for your life.
Looks like Dad's chimed in, says he's watching. Mr. CJ Pierce, that great will make a man out of you. Now,
uh,
was this in the dry suit or the wet suit?
this was all in the dry suit.
Okay.
I
So it,
actually ended up having to borrow Brian's fins so I could swim to it because I couldn't get to it with the fins that I had.
and let me guess, he had the scooter.
No, he didn't use. Well, he had it, but he never used it.
Oh, okay.
I tell you, he made. He was definitely the sergeant general there because man, he made everything look easy.
uh, so
And
it
his favorite phrase all weekend was, "Now we're almost diving."
now now we're almost diving.
We're almost diving.
Well, and for those that don't know Brian, which he's been cave diving for probably 20 plus years, which he is, he's a technical instructor and does closed circuit rebreathers and open circuit. Well, it was really funny because I had called him, I guess it was last Friday, uh, a week ago, and I thought you guys were all heading down at the same time. I didn't realize that he was heading down the next day so that he could spend like 4 days of cave
Yeah,
diving before you guys got there.
yeah, he's already in there having a good time before he puts us through all this. He's been down there a whole week and then makes us look like we just got an open water class.
Well, it's kind of like starting open water all over again.
It was. It was. And
uh,
then we went to Orange Grove the next day.
okay.
Very beautiful, deep cavern. Not really a lot of swim, but I mean, big cavern. Down about 95 feet. Nice big cavern. Enjoy yourself.
Mm.
And then we actually went what I would consider, that part of the cavern was like kind of like Blue Grotto. It's kind of a hole and it goes down.
Mm.
Big area swimming. Great for open water. The next part was actually the cavern to the cave. And don't go in there unless you have your cavern certification. I mean, just don't do it. Uh, Real easy to silt out. You need a line going in. Uh, and of course, we're learning all this how to do our knots, how to properly set everything up. Uh, but yeah, and then It's about 200 feet through this area, and to just get to the cave zone, it's about 200 feet. So all this is cavern zone. It's nice cavern, nice flat, smooth rocks everywhere, pretty. But yeah, if you screw up, you can make everybody's day and your day pain in the butt, even though you got daylight.
Yeah.
So
How was the
he,
flow?
flow at Orange Grove was like nil.
Hmm.
So yeah, open water goes there. There was a lot of people there running lines, just either practicing or doing cavern training. Great
So,
place.
so did y'all do all your cavern stuff at Jenny, or did you mix it up between the two?
So I went to Jenny, did the ballroom, which is kind of like open water type stuff, with just a small overhead environment, kind of practice grounds. And then we started kind of ramping up. We did the same thing in the big cavern at Orange Grove, and went to the next level, and we did the actual cavern up to the cave part of Orange Grove.
Okay.
Uh, and then uh, day three was the mother of all days. So went back to Jenny, and here we did the devil's eye and the devil's ear.
Okay.
So high flow areas, you get down into them and get in, and then they just open up, and it's like a maze down there. Big
Ah.
boulders, big rooms, and I mean we're just playing in the cavern zone. Just it was quite amazing. And then all the lights out drills that were starting to happen, and the we're throwing a mask on your face to cover you up so you can't see anything, and we're doing touch contacts. Yeah, you want to talk about hard? It wasn't easy. Brian threw the book at us,
There's a book
so
for it.
Brian's book.
Oh.
I mean, placing line markers, learning how to do closing line gaps, uh, different buddy procedures for when you're out of air. You can't see. You got line entanglements and you can't see.
Yep.
And literally, we had that happen. We got blindfolded with a line out, touch contact only. Our air got shut off. One of us got an entanglement while the other one had to try to figure out how to get them unstuck. While your air's off and you're sharing air, and then you're running across. He's throwing you in dummy lines to make sure you stay on the right line and don't get on the wrong line. I mean, for a cavern class, wow. I
Looks like Mr. Kyle just piped in. Good evening, sir. He wants to know if that was a cave or a cavern.
It was cavern. Think of it like open water, and then intro to cave is kind of like your advanced, which pretty much takes those basic skills and then ramps them up to 10.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
I think Kyle and CJ both. If I'm not, I know Kyle is, and I'm pretty sure CJ is. I think they have either their full cave or intro. I'm not. I know they cave dive. So, but I think both of them are full cave, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, full cave is pretty much those same stills ramped up, but you got to stay on the goal line the whole time. And then full cave, you can start doing different jumps and you know a little bit more exploring on your own kind of thing.
Yeah, I think we
At
had
least that's the way I understand it.
Yeah, we had Brian on. I guess it was a year and a half ago, and was kind of going over kind of the steps as far as getting into cave diving, the technical aspect. Uh, it's that's kind of the way that I took it. I've not been through it, and so it's interesting. And Kyle just popped a comment up there. It says that's an expressive curriculum for cavern, like they're prepping you for cave. So, and I think that's the actual goal, isn't it?
That is the goal, is to prep you for that before you even get there.
Yeah.
Uh, of course, there is some rules you got to. We're diving with 1/6, not 1/3, 1/6. So you got to learn how to calculate your gas consumption in and out.
Yeah, and I'd seen Randy, some video popped on here and said that's a lot plus new gear. But I think the first day, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, didn't you say that the first day was the only day you dove the dry suit? You went wet the other 2 days.
I won't wet the rest of the time. Yeah, it was just too much. I need to simplify it.
Yeah,
That's pretty much what I said when I got out of the water. Is like, I can't do this. I need to focus on what I'm doing. I can work on this back at the quarry and get it under control. That way, I can add it in later. So,
yeah. Uh, so yeah, it
but yeah,
sounds, huh?
yeah. If you're looking to up your next game or want something challenging, try that one. But beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Getting in there, you wouldn't believe how fit hold. Geez, big trains underneath the darn things. They're massive. You get to that little hole, go a little bit, and 200 feet in, and then all of a sudden, large.
Looks like Chad just joined us. Good evening, and Mr. Jeff Hoyer. Good evening to you. So let me kind of recap here a little bit for those that's just tuning in. Of course, Brian Tierney, our technical instructor, along with Jeff, JoJo, and Mike went down to Cave Country this past weekend to start working on their cavern cores, and it sounds like uh, yeah, he put y'all through the meal.
He did. I don't. I know I couldn't walk. I'm literally having to pull myself into the truck. I still got a bum leg. It don't want to work. I got a
uh,
feeling Mike's the same way. I mean, he fritting a little better than I was.
but all in all, I mean, did you guys have a good class?
I learned a lot. I got humbled. A lot of
But
respect to these cave divers.
I mean, it is. It's. I mean, you're basically, relearning how to dive. Because there's more equipment. It's more equipment intensive because of the gas. Different ways. Most of the times, open water, you're not going to silt stuff out unless you're just a rototiller. But in cave systems and stuff, I can see it can get dark quick, and so yeah, it's hats off to you guys because I don't mind to go and peek in, but yeah, I'm too big of
Yeah,
a I'm too big of a guy to be getting stuck. Let's see. Kyle says running line into the ear is such a chore. Remembers doing it blindfolded. Air sharing exit there. One of us went to one side of the log, the other went to the other. Our instructor said that it was entertaining to watch. So, my question was Brian laughing at any point?
right. Oh, I'm pretty sure he was. But when we came out of the ear, we only went in and out once, just because it was crazy flow. Um,
Yeah.
it pretty much us coming out was us looking back at him saying, "Get the heck out of the way," because he was coming out too. uh,
Oh.
but yeah, you were blown right smack to the back of the wall, and you had to do everything to miss that tree.
Mm.
Safety stop was pretty much you got blown out of the hole. It was. Not impossible.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, I've done manatee with the flow, there and coming out, and that was a kicking flow.
Yeah. Well, we pretty much had to climb the rocks to get into the ear. Or
Mm.
yeah, the ear. There's a couple spots through the eye. It helped if you could grab onto a rock and kind of called pushing glide, or pulling glide. Uh, but mainly, if you had a strong kick, you could get in there.
Mm.
Ear, no, you had to pull yourself through.
So was at least the outside temperature, was it decent down there?
80 degrees,
Okay.
75 ish, kind of. We'd be in the 60s in the morning, but I mean, it was nice during the day. Actually, get hot.
Ah. So
Um,
perfect for a wetsuit.
yeah, perfect for a wetsuit, perfect for a dry suit. Downfall is it rained for 2 days.
Uh, but you had scuba gear.
Yeah, we stayed drier under the water. It was cool.
uh,
You look up, you see it raining.
yeah. Wait, I always get a kick whenever I tell people, like that don't dive. You know, I'm going diving today, but it's raining outside. It's not raining underwater.
Yeah.
It's not.
So, yeah. No, we burned through tanks. I mean, it was 2 dives a day, 2 tanks each. So, it just kind of gives you an idea of the bottom time we're getting in.
Let's see. Emily just posted any interest in getting multiples of by straight casts, cave diving and close calls, available only by author and overseas. I'm not sure what she's talking about there. Chad asked how many hours a day underwater. Now we all know how long a typical dive for Brian is.
We were getting about 2 hours of bottom time. I know that kind of seems a little low for what we normally get. Thing is, we were at averaging 60 feet a dive. That's average. I mean, we were there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at 30. I was using 33% nitrox, and I bottomed out my NDL.
Oh.
So we were there for a minute.
Oh, okay.
But we needed the extra time to do things. You couldn't do it without the extra time.
Kyle wants to know what was the most challenging part of the class.
Being blindfolded and only using touch contact, I would say, is the most challenging. Try to figure out how to follow a line without losing it. You can't see it, you can just touch it with keeping your buddy safe, that is now out of air, and for some reason, somebody's gotten entangled on something. So it's I think
Oh.
first thing you do, and of course, share air, which wouldn't you take your long hose and you pretty much slide it along the rope or the line and hit their buddy's hand, and they take it. But then they got to get in front. If you kind of figure out that they're behind you and they're supposed to get in front of you without letting go of this line, not bunk their head on anything, not get stuck under a rock. Uh,
Now, was both of you blindfolded or just one?
both of us, both
Oh,
of us. so,
okay.
uh, so you got to figure it out, and it pretty much came into okay. First person's just gonna grip that line, and that second person is literally gonna climb you like a spider monkey. You get in front.
Say getting up close and personal, huh?
Yeah, I mean, there was absolutely you can't be modest about it. Uh, I mean, the signal for go is literally push you. I mean, and I mean it's push. I mean, stop is squeeze. You gotta stop.
Yeah, Mike.
Uh,
Mike said the same thing. He just popped up and said blindfold, air share, and touch contact with entanglement. But I mean,
yeah.
I can see, you know, because that could very well happen in a cavern, you know,
Yeah,
you know, so I can definitely see, you know, you have to be able to, you know, help each other out to get out, you know, get back to the surface.
and it was 3 or 4 groups at a time down there, so each one of them have their own line,
Mm.
and then there's a bunch of equipment down there, just scattered where people set up bailouts or staging, and we're just playing in the entrance.
Yeah. You haven't graduated to the big one yet, huh?
No, but I definitely have a respect for the ones that do.
Oh. Yeah,
Oh,
it's I mean, yeah, there's a lot of, you know, we've talked about this several times on the show, you know, the differences between technical and recreational. It is. You know, you got to have more equipment and you know, the way I describe it, it's like going through open water again because, you know how to dive, but you don't know how to dive in those kind of environments. And you know, it's one of those things, you know, if you're not properly trained, don't have the proper equipment, you know, things can go sideways real quick.
very quickly, and we found that out the hard way.
Yeah. Luckily, you was in class.
Yes, it was all controlled. Uh, Brian did a great job, I thought. So,
Well, one thing about it, like I said, you know, with you know, it's good to have somebody who has that experience, you know, behind them as your instructor. And there's a lot of great technical cave instructors out there that, you know, I have the utmost respect for because, you know, they know what they're doing.
mm-hmm.
And it is. I mean, anybody who's watching, you know, that hasn't really looked into technical diving or cave diving, cavern stuff like that, it's a different style of diving, and you know, there's not that many people that do it as like regular recreational diving. So, you know, it it takes quite a bit more training. Uh,
Oh yeah, it will
uh,
definitely transpose into my wreck diving. That's for sure, and that's my bread and butter.
Looks like Chris Magstad has joined us. Good evening. He says, "Go Cavern," and Mr. Jim Britton. Good evening to you. And he says, "Gentlemen, I'll use that term loosely." Well, it's like I always said. I don't care what you call me. Just don't call me late to a meal.
Yeah, can't miss a meal. That's
uh,
one
re-
thing we did not miss was dinner at
uh,
all. We made sure we showed up for dinner.
well, I mean, what it would be, what a dive trip be without the camaraderie of a dinner?
Yeah, it's dive, empty the tanks, go fill the tanks, go get something to eat, and we're all in bed by 9 o'clock.
Well, after hearing the recap of how things kind of went, I'm surprised you wasn't in bed by 8:30.
Well, because all my delays that first day, the sun was down by the time we got out of Jenny that first day. Yeah, I kind of do. And then I slept in a little too late the following day after that for about an hour.
You needed your beauty sleep, right?
Good thing is, we really still got there early and got done fairly early. 4 or 5 o'clock isn't too bad, I don't think.
Well, you know, it's of course this time of year, you know, when things are cold and I'm not a big fan of cold water anymore. Used to, I could do it and not blink an eye, but I've learned the older I get, it's just I just don't do cold water as much as I used to, and so heading a little further south, that's okay in my book. And beautiful places that you guys went to. Jenny Springs is a beautiful place. I've not done Orange Grove, so that's one that I am looking forward to at
We
some
ought to make a
point.
trip out there. It is very nice.
There's a couple down there that I haven't been to, but yeah, it's. I mean, you can't go wrong this time of year for a weekend trip. Do a 3 day trip, get a couple days under your belt diving, drive home. Uh, it's it makes it handy.
Oh yeah. I mean,
uh,
the drive's not bad. It's 10 hours to get to that part of Florida. From where I'm at, I think it's a little closer for you all. Um,
yeah, it's about nine and a half here, so not a lot of difference, but it is a little bit. Let's see.
it's-
Chris responded here a couple of minutes ago. Says he's thinking of caverns so he can still see daylight.
yeah, I always like the cavern part. Now, this will kind of take you into that realm in between the Twilight Zone kind of thing, where it's going to really
well,
not just like be a hole in the wall where all the sun's still shining. There's just something over your head. This is going to kind of take you where there's a faint glow, and you make a small turn to the left, and it's gone.
yeah, yeah. I think I would be okay with cavern. But yeah, it's again, when I think cave, and I love caves, above ground.
Yeah,
But
oh, I do too.
if it's if
Longing
it's
fun.
oh yeah, if it's a point that I'm not going to be able to fit my size through, I'm done. I'm
Well,
it's turnaround time.
of course, me and Brian likes to squeeze through small things, and me thinking I'm a lot smaller than I actually am. He might fit through them really easy, and then I go, "Oh, I can get through that." I don't fit too great. We went through one, and I tried to get through, and didn't quite get through the first time. So I backed up. I was like, "It's close. I'll try it again, a little harder." So I went in, tried it again. I'm like, "Yeah, this ain't gonna work." So I backed out. My tank slid sideways. Like, well, now I'm dedicated. I gotta go through this no matter what.
did it
So
did,
I
did it
ended up just squeezing my way through that darn hole.
did it bring back the memory of your side mount class when you had to take the tanks and push them through the van window?
Oh, he likes to do some stuff, and I think I can do them too. And I really should know better.
Jim typed in here says Jackson Blue has a huge cavern. Have you done that one, Joe?
Not Jackson Blue. I'd
Okay.
like to. Uh, Buford's another one I'd like to go to. Uh,
Yeah. And Dad asked JoJo, did you ever go to the gate at Vortex?
been down there.
Yeah.
Been
Let's see. Chris says he has. I've yet to make it to the piano room, which I don't know. The piano room is at Vortex.
yes.
And I think if I'm
We
not.
when we were down there last time, Brian took me. Of course, I was doing my side mount class, and of course, we went down there, and he took my mask, and I had to swim out of there without my mask on.
Oh,
I
didn't have a backup
was
mask,
like a
huh?
200-foot swim, but yeah, I had to do it without my mask.
Didn't have a backup mask, huh?
Yeah. He didn't
uh,
want me to have a back. He wanted me to do it with no mask.
gotcha.
then he wanted me to find my mask afterwards, and they're at the end of the line.
Oh, one thing about it, if you take a class under Brian, when you come out, you're gonna have the gauntlet thrown at you, and you're gonna have a better understanding and respect for it. That's for sure.
Yes. Uh, I say that uh, Brandon always having, I don't think he likes when Brian comes around. Let's go deep. Go take your mask off. Let's go deep. And he don't
uh,
like taking his mask off in cold water.
yeah. Yeah. Jim says task overload. I think that was the roughest part. The whole blindfolded and
Yeah.
feeling your way out. Yeah.
So you might see me and Mike in there this summer running line blindfolded.
Don't worry, they're not spooning. I promise.
Yeah, I mean, not I know how bad I am at it. I just want to be proficient now. So,
Well, and you got to start somewhere.
hmm
Just like when you took that first step into recreational, you start somewhere, you work your way up, through the education, learn all the different specialties and stuff. And again, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. When you decide to take that step technical, you're pretty much doing the exact same thing, but now you have a foundation of, you know, the basics of scuba, and stepping off into the technical realm, you're going to learn and probably get humbled several times, but you're going to have a newfound learning for it and respect for it. And I think
oh,
I see stories not all the time, but at least a couple of times a year where an open water diver goes into a cave or cavern, and ends up getting injured or worse, and it's all because, ooh, this looks cool, but they have no idea the risk and stuff behind it. And the technical classes, cavern, intro, full cave, those are designed to give you the tools that you need to be able to make those types of dives safely.
yeah, and they're tools. That means you still gotta be proficient in using them. I'm not ready.
Chris says, "Why y'all saying it takes too long to get to Vortex? It's just an hour away. We're not an hour away." Mike says it may look like two turtles.
There was a lot of turtles there. There was a lot of turtles there. I think it was that time of year.
Well, and if you remember, when we were in Bonaire in April, that one place we went to, I forget the name of it. We renamed it. Uh,
Yeah.
Mike was there. You was there. Uh, I can't. I can't remember exactly what it was, what the name of the dive site was, but it looked like there was a tire floating right off of the reef. What was it? Oh, the little offshoot island. I can't think of the name of it. They're
On
on
Clyde.
Klein Bonaire. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it looked like there was a tire floating out there, and we were fairly close into the shore. We were probably in what, 15 foot of water,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
maybe 100 yards away from the boat. Well, the dive master, we were watching it. The dive master decided to, he's going to go and retrieve this trash out of the ocean. And he got what, halfway there, and then turned around and realized that it was two turtles having relations. So we respectfully renamed that dive site Two Turtles. Oh. So yeah,
Good time.
if you see JoJo and Mike at the quarry this season and they got a line and blindfolds, we promise it's just technical training, technical practice, cavern practice.
Yep.
But all in all, I mean, it sounds like it was, other than the few snafus that you experienced, it sounds like it was a pretty decent trip overall. You guys
Yes.
learned quite a bit. Like you said, have a newfound respect and was humbled. Uh, I think everybody I know that is technical in cavern divers have pretty much said the same thing.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Now we all look at them like they're superstars, and oof, uh, they definitely earned it.
I'm going back here because I just seen I missed a comment from Kyle. I apologize. I apparently scrolled real quick, but he wants to know what's your favorite cavern and why. His favorite is the at Twin in Mariana.
I haven't been in many. Uh, I'm still a big fan of Morrison, but uh, that's just the makeup. I mean, it's just a cavern. There's no cave there or whatnot that you
Yeah.
can access. Uh,
Well, and
just
just
the makeup of that one.
yeah, and just kind of dipping your foot into it. I mean, once I don't know, I haven't talked to Brian if you guys got completed it or whatnot, but that's just the first step,
Mhm.
into intro, and so that I'm assuming that probably the next trip down will be something on that lines or maybe more practice on cavern. I don't know.
I'd say I would never have went into Orange Grove and did that. I would never have done it with
Yeah.
just open water. Um, I would have never have went into the eye or the ear with just open water. As soon as you jump into them, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah.
They're not like Blue Grotto or Vortex or
No, yeah.
Morrison.
Well,
It's a whole nother level.
the safety advantage of Vortex is it's pretty much one way in, one way out.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It may go different places, but it shrinks. So as far as diving it, divers can only go so far. Uh,
Hmm.
I watched a documentary. I guess it was back last summer about a fatality that was at Vortex several years ago, and so it's really one way in, one way out. They've got the grate, so you can't get too far back in. And then Morrison, like you said, it's strictly just a cavern. There's no cave. And if I'm not mistaken, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, JoJo, but back in the 50s or 60s, didn't they make that closed off so it wasn't a cave?
Yeah, there was a lot of fatalities going on in there. The sheriff got tired of it, so he went down there and pretty much blew the ceiling off of it and closed the cave off.
Yeah, I knew
They
it was
used to
something
jump
like
at
that.
like 300 feet. You know.
Yeah,
So I mean, all you got's a big rubble pile. But at the same time, that rubble pile is really what I like with the sand just shooting out like a volcano. You
yeah. Jim says XR and Cavern class is fun. Chris Magstat says you can go, but you still have hold on. But you can still go have yeah. I can't really say that on air or on stream.
yes, you still have things go wrong.
Yeah,
It's definitely a risk factor you got to take
yeah,
into consideration that you are in a overhead environment. And yeah, cavern class will definitely help prepare you for that because you do got to plan for the extra air.
oh yeah,
Let's say we're diving 6, So what's a sixth of a 3,000? 250 psi. That's all you got. Go in. You got another 250 to come out. The
Yeah, and
rest of it's
depending
all reserved.
yeah, and depending on, the depth of where you're at, of how you're going to have to plan that accordingly as well. Because if you're 60 feet, 250 is not going to get you very far.
No, and a lot of it ended up. I mean, of course we did that a lot. We'd go in, do our 1-6, we'd come out, come back up, recalculate what we're doing, do it again. So
Yeah.
come in,
No.
about as soon as we get back there, we're coming back out.
Yeah. And Chris continued on the comments there, and I see now what he was saying was that things can still go wrong at Morrison, which it is. It's an overhead environment. Even though it is a cavern, it is still an overhead environment, and it's a one way in, one way out. If if you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to do it. Like he said here, an open water student didn't make it out when he was there, or the day after or day before he was there doing a full face class. So I mean, yeah, even though it's just a cavern, there's no cave. I mean, it's real easy to, things can go sideways. It can happen in the open water environment. It can happen a whole lot easier in an overhead environment.
There's no straight up.
Yeah, in recreational, if you run out of air, I mean, you can do, your emergency skills, do your emergency swimming ascent, buoyant ascent, CISA, and get to the surface. When you're in caverns like that, you don't have a direct access.
Nope.
So the proper planning, proper training, proper equipment is very important, especially if you're going to be spending time. If you go to Vortex, and I use Vortex as an example because I know a lot of open water classes go there. Uh, there's nothing wrong with going to the mouth of the cavern. You can still go straight up. It's not an overhead environment, but as soon as you duck in, it's an overhead environment, and yeah, it things can go sideways if you're not prepared. Sorry, my dog is back here whining and crying. He got in trouble because he thought the cat was a chew toy. Let's see. All right, I think I'm pretty much caught up. Well, it's about 8:51 right now, JoJo. So give us kind of a brief summary. What'd you think about cavern class? All that.
They kicked my butt, but at the same time, I'm not making myself a better diver by staying in my comfort zone. So yeah, I will take it. Do I? Will I do cave? I will probably think about doing it for the fact that I could continue my growth as a diver. Am I going to say I'm going to be that enthused about it like some of the others? Probably not. Uh, but I will translate that into the wreck diving I like to do. So,
Well, and even even advanced rec, where you're doing penetrations and stuff, it's still good to have that foundation.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and you know what? I just realized we've been sitting here talking about technical and the weekend cavern class and all that. We never did come up with a trivia question for tonight.
No. So did my fence fit?
uh,
The answer was no, they didn't.
you know what? Now that I think about it in retrospect, we could have went back and said, "How much money did you take to Florida to go diving this weekend?"
That depends on what part of the trip you're asking about. was within the first 400 miles.
Well, now I did
Andrew
say
was zero.
I did say how much did you take? So technically, technically, you didn't take anything. Thank goodness for Apple Pay, right?
Yes, that saved my butt. That at least gave me another 30 minutes to think about how to pay for the rest of the trip. Not everywhere takes Apple Pay. And it really only came available at that one spot. Everything else was because I got wired cash.
Oh, so yeah, it definitely seems like you guys had an experience. Uh, I
Yeah,
didn't. I was really looking forward to going, but when we found out that my son had his archery tournament, on Saturday, it's like, well, crap. So, but it's like I always say, I always find a weekend to slip down there, and I still got my Sea Life lights, the new 5,000 lumen lights that have yet to hit the water, so they're starting to dry rot.
I think good thing is we did find a decent B&B. 3 rooms, 3 guys, all had their own room, and it only cost us $150 for 4 days a piece.
Oh,
So,
that's yeah.
so we kind of made bank there on that one. Yeah,
Well, and those are becoming, when if you're doing a weekend trip like that, where you're going diving, because we all know we've all been there. Uh, you stay in a hotel. Nowadays, hotels are going to be, a minimum $100 a night. You'll be lucky if you find one for 79, $89. But time you add tax, you're going to be $100 pretty much, if not more. And if you're not going as a huge group or anything like that, it makes more sense if you got 3 or 4 people going. The Airbnbs, make it a whole lot more reasonable. $150 per person for 4 nights. That's
yeah. And then you throw in the Brian's knowledge of, hey, let's go to Omegos to get air fills, which is pretty much a self-serve air station.
oh yeah, I've
And,
heard of that one.
and so fill your own stuff, which there's tons of whips. So fill it, pay for it. It's probably some of the cheapest nitrox I've ever bought.
So I've
It
got to
only
tell.
cost me $40 for 4 tanks. Go over to another spot and it cost me $60 to fill them all. So big price difference.
Well, and I've got to tell this story on you because you said nitrox, and so last weekend I called you on it. Yeah, I see you laughing. I had a couple of ladies who came in while we were working on stuff, and they drove in from St. Louis and was going to dive, and they did. But they had brought nitrox tanks, and they asked when they checked in, said, "Hey, can you analyze our tanks just so we can double check our mix?" Yeah, sure, no problem. I go to look for our little analyzer, our little stick analyzer, and I searched all over. I'm scratching my head trying to figure out where did this thing go. And Mike was getting ready on Sunday. He was getting his tanks and stuff ready so he could leave out and go on Wednesday. And I asked him, I said, do you want nitrox? And at first he was going to do nitrox, but we couldn't find that little analyzer. And I'm like, well, I know it's got to be here. It's got to be here somewhere. And I had remembered that the weekend before you guys were working on tanks. I'm like, well, I'm going to call JoJo and find out where he put the analyzer. And I'll never forget when I asked you about it. You're like, oh, the one that's in my truck. Like, yeah, I can't if I can't analyze if I don't know where the
Yeah,
analyzer is.
I meant to text you the next day and say, hey, I took your analyzer.
uh, luckily, we have more than one analyzer, but that one there is really handy to carry around.
It is very handy to carry around. We used it.
All right. Well, it is 8:58. Jojo, any final thoughts for this evening?
Hmm. No, looking to get down there and get working again. Maybe do another dive trip here shortly.
That sounds like a plan. Hopefully, uh, as we reported last week, the dock, and I know people are probably getting tired of seeing this dock, or they're getting anxious wanting to see the dock, not in pictures, but last weekend, or not this past weekend, weekend before last, we got 99% of it is done. A couple of little cosmetic things, probably take us 30 minutes to do, and it's going to be 100% ready for divers. I mean, you can dive off of it now. I mean, it's totally ready for use. Just a couple of things to finish up on it, but yeah. So Randy's asked, what are we working on next? Well, we are really wanting to get Penny in the water, and so getting the other side of her sanded down and getting the paint and getting her sealed, get the tooth in, or get the tooth, get the teeth in because we do
We're gonna
have,
have redneck me with one tooth.
yeah, well, the redneck shark. But
Only in Kentucky.
yeah, those Kentucky sharks will get you. I'm telling you. I got to come out with a meme on a Kentucky shark. That's what we need to do. But excuse me. But we've got some changing room renovations that we've got planned to start and get that finished before opening season. So a few projects here and there. The main ones are the renovations on the changing rooms, and Penny are kind of the main focus right now to get done before opening season. So yeah, it should be doable. I think we spend a couple of weekends on Penny. She should be about ready to go in, and then with the renovations planned, probably take a couple of weekends, for maybe 5 days on that, getting that taken care of, and I think you know all that will be ready for the season.
Yay, more work.
Yeah. I do know the suspended dock, or I'm not sorry, the suspended platform. We still have to get it in front of the dock, so and get it in place. That way you can do your safety stop, then come up. But uh, that that won't be too bad. What about the Blackwater tanks? I don't know exactly what you're talking about there, Chris. Blackwater tanks.
Maybe for the campers.
Could
We
be.
did talk about putting one in for the camping.
Yeah. Uh, which we've got the pump that JoJo carries around or has. So actually, I think it's in the back of my truck. Now that I think about it, but so we can definitely take care of that for the rest. Everything's good on it as far as I know. Um,
Yeah, we do got the pump, so if you need pumped out, we can at least do that.
yeah. So yeah. So other than that, the cosmetic things on the changing rooms, we're going to add a couple of changing stalls on each side, going up with the bathroom stall, the wall. So going to be a little bit more privacy. You'll go in there to change whatnot. Um, so yeah, my ultimate goal is to make it to where there's no breeze in the wintertime, but ventilation in the summertime. So, but anyway, it is that 9 o'clock hour, guys. I also want to thank you all for tuning in with us each and every Monday that we're on. We've been doing this since the start of the pandemic in 2020. And as you can tell, we enjoy doing it. It gives us a chance to sit and talk with other divers about stuff going on in scuba. The learning different things like uh, JoJo running off and forgetting his wallet going to Florida. Actually, I don't think he forgot. I think he actually lost it. So we'll give him a break
I've
on that one.
lost it.
Yeah, we'll give him a
Don't
break
know
on
where
that
I lost between Walmart and here, but I lost it.
one. Well, you haven't seen any like $2,000 or $3,000 charges for new scuba gear, have you?
No, I
Okay.
have not. My wife would kind of wonder where those came from. You sure you lost your wallet? Yeah. Well, I mean, the gear's showing up. I mean, I might as well keep it, right?
Yeah. It's coming to the house. I don't know. I don't think that would fly very high, JoJo. All right, guys. Well, again, I want to appreciate or thank you guys. We appreciate you tuning in, hanging out with us on Monday nights. It's always a blast to sit and talk about things scuba, things going on at the park, or going to different places, learning about different things in scuba. I have a fun time with it. I know JoJo does, because we pretty much eat, breathe, sleep, and think scuba all the time. How can we make it better? How can we make it better?
Yeah,
Dive
we
more.
do.
So, all right, guys. Well, until next Monday night, if you guys are diving this weekend, we hope you have a safe, wonderful, and awesome diving experience. And until next Monday night, JoJo, I'll catch you, or probably, I don't know if you're going to be in this weekend or not, but if you are, I'll be there working.
All right.
All right, guys. Y'all have a safe week, and we look forward to seeing you guys back next week right here on the Penny Royal Divers Group Monday Night Safety Stop.